Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather. Want to bring you just a quick update on this incoming storm system here. No precipitation really breaking out down to our south, but the good news is but the good news is that'll break out a little bit later this evening. That should alleviate some freezing rain concerns because temperatures are actually going to rise overnight. Now, right now, we're sitting right near and just slightly above the freezing mark in some places. We are only going to warm up this evening. In fact, by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, temperatures could still get into the 50s, low 50s around the area by the time you wake up. And then we could push near 60 tomorrow for a high. Now, temperatures are going to crash hard tomorrow night with that Arctic front coming through, and that'll be a different story. But I don't really see much problems for us tonight. Possibly up north towards Indianapolis, that might be a little bit of a different story. But for those of us here in the southern portion of the state, certainly nothing to worry about. Right now, we do have that snowstorm ongoing up to our north. We're not going to have to worry about that. It's going to deliver them some hefty totals there, but nothing that we are necessarily going to have to worry about just yet here. But if we put a stop to this, and apologize, I got to bring my controls down here to be able to do that, folks. If I put a stop to this, there's the low pressure out to our west that's kind of starting to develop out here, and that's essentially going to kind of take a direction like this. It's going to pull some very warm air up from the Gulf of Mexico, moist air as well, so you can expect a fair amount of precipitation here over Kentucky. Not as much for us, as I'll show you in a minute, but nonetheless, some spotty showers will break out ahead of this. And look at this, we've already risen now to 34 there at the Huntingburg Airport. That updates every 15 minutes, whereas the Evansville Airport here only updates once an hour, still at 32, likely above freezing there in Evansville as well. Zoom in here a little bit on the region. There's really nothing going on radar yet. It'll begin to fill in a little bit later tonight, but again, there you go, with temperatures starting to come above the freezing. And again, those temperatures are going to rise throughout the evening time, so any rain that breaks out at this point with those rising temperatures shouldn't really be a concern over much of southern Indiana the way things look right now. Let's go take a look at the model data and show you where we're at here. So this is the GFS, and I'm going to show you here the duration of the event. This is where we should be about right now, roughly, or well, actually, no, we should be about right here. And GFS doing a pretty good job. Nothing breaking out in the area right now as we go into the evening time. There's some showers start to break out over the area, and you can see it as we head into the overnight. This is 6Z, so that would be 1 Eastern time here in the morning. There's the low deepening over to our west. Notice that it is a closed low now. If you go back here to to GR Earth and we take a look here, you can see it is a closed low, but it's a very elongated closed low. It was not that earlier, but it is starting to deepen. It's going to deepen up a little bit more, but it's not going to be a very powerful low. It's going to be a pretty weak one, and that's good because it's not going to be able to do a whole lot for us. It will turn on a wind machine. It's going to get pretty breezy tonight, and that breeze will bring those warmer temperatures in. There's the rain as it starts tomorrow morning, and you can see it's all rain across the area. This is a little misleading because the reality is this almost makes it look like it is an all-day soaker, and it's just not that. It's just not going to be an all-day soaker by any means there. As that moves out, though, the cold air crashes in, and you've got the cold front here. This will be by about 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Let me sort of illustrate this for you. The low pressure is way up here at this point, and what you've got is the cold front kind of coming down through the area like this, and so you've got that colder air crashing in here. The snow is still well off to our north, but we are going to see this fill up with a little bit as we continue on. Through the loop here, you can see that by tomorrow evening here, we start to transition to a little bit of freezing rain and a little bit of sleet there in the purple. There's still snow back here, but watch what happens. As we get later on into the evening hours, it just sort of falls apart. Well, that's because there's an Arctic high pressure that's going to be coming in from our west, and it's moving down pretty fast. That's actually just sort of squeezing the life out of the system as the low is, pulled away way up here. The low is pulled away way up here by this time off to our north and east up here. And as that high gets closer to us, basically it's just sort of drying out the atmosphere and eating away at this precipitation. So you do see the potential for some snow showers still in there, but it's not going to be a big event. That's the way the GFS takes this. The GEM is a little bit more robust in some ways with the low, as you can see. There's the rain moving in, and then tomorrow afternoon there comes a little bit of freezing rain and a little bit of sleet there again with it And you notice, it kind of keeps this together for a longer period of time, and the Arctic height doesn't get to eat it away nearly as much until a little bit later, and then it's on out in there. So that's a little bit of an outlier there. It's a little robust with that, and as I show you some totals here in a minute, you'll see that. Um, let's save this one for last. This is the high resolution dam. That's how I think things are probably going to pan out a little bit more, but we'll save that for just a second. No significant accumulations here. GFS would take the snow total significant way off to our north. You might be looking at just a light dusting if you are lucky here over much of southern Indiana. If you believe the gem, it's a little bit more robust, but I'm inclined not to believe the gem. I think that's a little bit of a fantasy to me. With a robust high pressure moving in, I can see this precipitation being eaten away a lot easier. And if you look at the high resolution NAM, this is actually a new version of the high resolution NAM. This is the parallel that they're running alongside, an experimental version that they are running alongside of the operational, and it's doing a pretty good job so far. As overall, but notice that it gives us almost nothing here as far as snow. Freezing rain is going to be the bigger threat. If you believe the GFS, there could be some significant freezing rain here in Ohio, down into southern Kentucky, maybe even getting close to portions around Nashville. You could get some significant freezing rain out of this. If this is actually the Canadian, rather, excuse me. And again, the Canadian's a little bit more robust. The GFS not quite as robust with that, but still does show some significant accumulations here in little bands at least. I would not want to be Nashville for my friends down there. 1.69 inches freezing rain. That's a little ridiculous and probably, frankly, not going to happen. If you want my honest opinion, I don't see that. I just don't see that. But you can see for those of us, just more of a scattered kind of event here. I do think there will be some freezing rain concerns. I do think there will be some sleet concerns, and a little bit of snow could fall with this as well. But overall, it's just really not going to be that bad as far as my opinion is. If you look at the new high-res NAM, it does show, again, there's a pretty significant problem for freezing rain up here in Ohio and portions into Pennsylvania. But for us, that tracks over here into central Indiana. But once you get past I-70 here and southward just about, there's really not a whole lot going on. Maybe some spotty light accumulations here of freezing rain. It's a little bit stronger and more robust down toward Nashville as well, so there may be some concerns for you guys down here in southern Kentucky and into Tennessee. But overall, for us, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a major freezing rain event. And of course, the reason why for that is if we just look at total amount of precipitation that's going to fall during this event, well, some pretty decent rains as you head down here towards the Appalachian area and into Tennessee. But for those of us here, just not a whole lot, maybe a 6/10 of an inch total precipitation. Rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain, everything, liquid falling from the sky here in Louisville, 4/10 in Evansville, and 4/10 up around Bloomington and Vincennes there, and Columbus as well. So you kind of get the idea here. This is not going to be a big event. So let me just sort of show you where the high resolution NAM is, and we'll kind of end with this. I do believe this has a little bit better handle on it. This is a mesoscale model. It's higher resolution. It can see finer details than what some of the other models I have showed you are. So this is good to use whenever we're into a short-term event like this. And 3 kilometers, that's a pretty tight resolution, so it gives us a little bit better data with this. And you can see there are those showers as they break out over the area tonight. It's not going to be anything significant. The high-res NAM here is suggesting there could be some freezing rain concerns, possibly move in here with this. But again, with temperatures rising, I'm not sure how much this is true. Maybe a little bit more up towards Indianapolis here. But for us, I'm not really buying this a whole lot. I think there will be some significant freezing rain concerns for Ohio and possibly for central Indiana. But for us, it's going to transition very quickly to rain. And as you can see, it's not even an extreme amount of rain. It's just going to be some very spotty showers tonight. It's going to be pretty light out there. And then, by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, there's not a whole lot on radar the way things look. And it stays that way for a good chunk of the morning. And you can see it's just some spotty light drizzle and some showers around the area. It's nothing significant. Even with the warm temperatures, it's just not there. But by the time we get a little bit later into the evening, and what you've got going on here is you've got a change where the Arctic front is moving through. As that front gets closer to us, those showers will become maybe a little bit more robust. And you notice it's starting to change to a little bit of freezing rain here in the pink and a little bit of sleet there in the purple. Some ice with this. A little light round of ice as it moves through before some snow moves through a little bit. And it doesn't really even give much snow for southern Indiana for us. Some very, very light totals. So, the bottom bottom line, I think, as this we go through tonight, shouldn't have really much of any concerns unless you are towards the central part of Indiana for icing tonight. But even that, it's going to warm those temperatures overnight into the 40s, and maybe even to the low 50s by the time we get tomorrow morning. Tonight, really not going to be that big of a deal. Tomorrow, not a big deal at all. We're going to warm into the 50s easily, I think, and possibly even near 60 by tomorrow afternoon. Then the Arctic front moves through, and that's what's really going to hammer us, folks. We're going to go from a high, around 60 to lows in the 20s by the time you wake up on Sunday morning, maybe even the upper teens for a few locations. And with that quick of a transition, yeah, you're going to probably end up with a little bit of freezing rain and some sleet and some snowflakes mixed in. And, it's going to vary widely over the area. Bottom line is I don't expect a significant amount of accumulation with this. I really think that we're looking at an inch or less of anything combined with this. In fact, I would argue that we're probably not looking at really much more than a light dusting of snow for a few folks. I really think sleet and freezing drizzle are going to be the concerns there. And of course, the bigger concern that I haven't mentioned yet but need to with this is as the winds die down behind the front and you've still got this precipitation coming in, you could have a flash freeze go on. So in other words, all a flash freeze is all that water that's over the roadway, and then the temperatures crash really fast and the wind doesn't have the opportunity to blow it off before those temperatures crash because they crash so fast. You could end up with with a flash freeze where that water just freezes on the roadways, and that could make the roadways an ice rink out there. So there are some problems with that. That could last into Sunday morning, so that's something we'll have to keep an eye on for those of you that go to church. There could be some hazardous roads around the area Sunday morning. We'll just have to see. Right now, again, it doesn't look like a significant event to me, and that's a good thing. It doesn't look like a significant icing event or a significant snow event. And so, I do think there could be some road problems, but it's something that we're just going to have to keep an eye on. And it's certainly much better than it could be. A little light glaze of freezing drizzle on the roads, then a few inches of snow on top of that would be an absolute nightmare. So, the good thing is this is all probably going to come to an end during the overnight hours on Saturday night into Sunday morning. So that will allow the road crews a chance to get out before Sunday morning and be able to get some of the stuff cleared off and some ice melt applied to things that they haven't already applied to. And hopefully by Sunday morning, maybe these roads might be a little bit better. And let's hope, because Sunday is going to be a very cold day. We're looking at temperatures bitterly cold, into the teens and 20s for highs around the area. We're not going to go much on Sunday. It's going to be a very cold day, another fresh outbreak of that Arctic air coming down. There will be some improvements as we head a little bit later into next week, but we'll deal with that in another video, folks. That's the way things are shaping up right now. Tomorrow morning, I plan to look at all of the data once again. I'll have another video and some more updates out tomorrow, so be sure to check back. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite with SouthernIndianaWeather.com. Have a great night, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow.